If someone had told me that my own parents would choose a stranger's birthday dinner over their grandson's, I wouldn't have believed it. But that's exactly what happened. I'm Tyson, I'm 34, married to my wife Lena, and we have one amazing son, Eli. For the past 2 years, I've been sending my parents $600 every week so they could live comfortably. They always said retirement was hard and that bills were piling up. I didn't even think twice. I grew up watching my dad work 2 jobs just to keep us fed, and my mom was always home making sure I had clean clothes and warm meals. I owed them everything. So when I got a stable job, it felt like payback time. Every Friday morning, I'd transfer the money automatically, $600. It became part of my routine, like paying rent or buying groceries. My mom would send voice notes like, "You're such a good son, Tyson. We're so proud of you." And that would make me feel like I was doing something right. Lena, my wife, didn't always agree. "Ty, that's over $2,000 a month. Don't you think it's too much?" she'd ask sometimes. But I'd shake my head. "They raised me, Lena. I can't just abandon them." She'd sigh and drop it, even though I could tell she didn't like it. Things were tight for us, but I didn't mind cutting back a little. I'd skip buying new clothes, and sometimes we'd delay fixing things around the house. All because I believed my parents needed that money more than we did. They never asked for more, but they also never said thank you in a big way. I guess I didn't expect them to. Love doesn't need to be loud, right? Or so I thought. Eli's 6th birthday was coming up. He'd been counting down for weeks, talking about balloons, cake, and how Grandma and Grandpa would come. He even drew a picture of the 3 of them together, holding hands. I called my parents 5 days before the party. "Hey Mom, remember, it's Eli's birthday this Saturday. Don't forget," I said. She sounded cheerful. Of course, we wouldn't miss it for the world. Dad added from the background, "Tell the little man we're bringing him a big surprise." I smiled. "He'll love that." Thanks, guys. That night, Eli couldn't stop smiling. "Grandma's bringing me a surprise," he said before bed. Friday came. I sent their usual $600. I didn't even think about it, I just hit send. Saturday morning, we decorated the house with blue and yellow balloons. Lena baked a small cake shaped like a football, Eli's favorite. We invited a few neighborhood kids and their parents. By noon, everyone started arriving. Everyone except my parents. I checked my phone, no message, no missed call. I called Mom. No answer. I called Dad. Straight to voicemail. "Maybe they're on the way," Lena said, trying to keep me calm. "Yeah," I muttered, though something didn't feel right. The party started anyway. Eli ran around laughing, playing games with his friends. But every few minutes, he'd ask, "Daddy, where's Grandma and Grandpa?" I'd force a smile. "They'll be here soon, buddy." But as the sun went down and the candles were lit, they still hadn't shown up. Eli looked at the door one last time before blowing out the candles. "They forgot, didn't they?" he whispered. I swallowed hard. Maybe something came up. Lena rubbed my shoulder quietly. "Ty, maybe they just forgot. It happens." I wanted to believe that. I really did. After everyone left, we cleaned up the mess, half-eaten cake, popped balloons, and leftover food. That night, I sat on the couch staring at my phone. Still nothing from them. Not even a single text saying, "Happy birthday, Eli." I told myself maybe Mom wasn't feeling well. Maybe Dad's phone died. But deep down, something was off. It wasn't like them to ignore me completely. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I made coffee and checked Facebook, just to distract myself. That's when I saw it. A photo. My parents, smiling, dressed up, sitting at a fancy restaurant. A huge cake on the table, surrounded by people I didn't recognize. The caption read, "Happy birthday to my best friend, Mrs. Carter. So thankful to have you in our lives." My heart dropped. I clicked on the restaurant's page, one of those luxury places where dinner for 2 costs more than our weekly groceries. The waiter who posted the photo had tagged the restaurant and added $500 birthday dinner package. That's when it hit me. They used my money. The $600 I sent them 2 days before, they spent it celebrating someone else's birthday. Not their grandson's. Not even a simple call to him. I stared at that photo for a long time. My dad had his arm around Mom, both smiling like they didn't have a care in the world. I felt sick. Lena came over, holding her mug. What's wrong? I turned the phone around silently. She frowned. Is that them? I nodded. They were celebrating someone else's birthday last night, while Eli was waiting for them. She sat down beside me, shaking her head. Tyson, that's just cruel. I didn't say anything. I just kept scrolling through the photos, seeing them laughing, clinking glasses. Each picture felt like a punch to the gut. That morning, my parents finally texted. Sorry we couldn't make it. Something came up. No apology. No mention of Eli. Nothing. I typed a long message, then deleted it. I didn't even know what to say. All I could think was, maybe love does have limits. And maybe I just reached mine. The next few days after Eli's birthday felt heavy. I couldn't shake off the image of my parents laughing in that restaurant while my son sat by the window, waiting for them. I tried to tell myself it wasn't a big deal. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe they were invited at the last minute. But the truth kept crawling back into my mind. They had time to dress up, go out, eat expensive food, and post pictures. They just didn't care enough to call. I stopped sending the usual Sunday morning, good morning, text to Mom. Normally, she'd reply with a chain message or a Bible quote. But when she noticed I hadn't texted, she called me first. Tyson, how are you? She asked, sounding cheerful. I'm fine, I said flatly. She paused. You sound upset. What's wrong? I wanted to say what's wrong? You skipped your grandson's birthday to eat lobster with a stranger. But instead, I said, you didn't come to Eli's birthday. Oh, that, she said casually. We had something else that night. You know how it is. Something else. I repeated. Mom, I saw your photos on Facebook. You were at a restaurant celebrating Mrs. Carter's birthday. There was silence. Then she sighed. Tyson, you shouldn't stalk our Facebook. We're adults, we can have fun too. I gripped my phone tighter. Fun? You missed your grandson's birthday. He cried, Mom. Her tone changed cold, sharp. You're too sensitive. It's not that serious. We'll visit another time. Do you even realize you used the money I sent you to pay for that dinner? I asked quietly. She scoffed. Excuse me? You send money because you want to, not because we ask you to. Don't start counting pennies. That was the moment something broke inside me. All the times I worked overtime so I could keep sending that $600. All the things Lena and I gave up, date nights, new clothes, family trips. All so they could live comfortably. I realized my parents weren't struggling. They were living better than we were. That night, I told Lena what happened. She sat beside me at the dining table, folding laundry. Ty, you've done more than enough for them. If they can't even show up for their grandson, maybe it's time to stop sending money. I hesitated. They'll think I'm ungrateful. She looked at me gently. And what do you think they are? I didn't answer. The next Friday, I didn't send the $600. By evening, my mom texted. Hey, did you forget the transfer? I ignored it. An hour later, my dad called. Son, we didn't get the usual money this week. Is everything okay? Everything's fine, I said calmly. I just decided to take a break from sending money for now. There was a long silence before he said, a break? Why? Because I realized it's not helping anyone. Not you, not me. He sighed. Your mother's not going to like this. You know we depend on that. Depend? I said. You spent $500 on dinner last week. He didn't respond. Just said, we'll talk later, and hung up. That weekend, they didn't call again. A few days later, I went to visit them. Not to fight, just to see for myself. Their house was spotless, filled with new furniture. A new TV. New curtains. I stood there, confused. Mom came out of the kitchen, surprised. Tyson, you didn't tell us you were coming. Nice place, I said, scanning the room. Looks like you've been redecorating. She smiled proudly. Oh yes, we wanted a change. It's about time we lived a little, right? I nodded slowly. With what money? She frowned. Excuse me. Mom, I send you $600 every week. You told me it was for bills, groceries, medications. But now you have a new couch, a new TV, and went to a luxury restaurant. Her voice rose. Tyson, we don't need your approval to spend our money. But it's my money, I said quietly. That's when Dad walked in. Enough, he said firmly. You're making your mother upset. You should be ashamed, Tyson, questioning us like this. Ashamed? I said, staring at them. You couldn't even call your grandson on his birthday. You keep taking my money but can't give him a single day. My mom crossed her arms. We didn't ask you to send it. You decided to. If you want to stop, fine. But don't act like we owe you something. Her words cut deep. I stood there for a few seconds, then nodded. You're right. You don't owe me anything. And I don't owe you either. I turned around and walked out. That drive home felt strange. I wasn't angry anymore, just empty. When I got home, Lena hugged me without saying a word. I think she already knew from the look on my face. That night, after we put Eli to bed, I sat in the living room staring at my phone again. I scrolled through old messages from my mom, all the "we're proud of you, son" texts. They felt fake now. I deleted them all. The next morning, I set up a new savings account and called my bank to stop the automatic transfers. Then I walked into Eli's room. He was still asleep, holding his stuffed bear. I whispered, "From now on, it's just us, buddy. No one else." He stirred a little, smiling in his sleep. I smiled too, a small, tired smile. Because even though my parents had shown their true colors, I finally saw something clearer. I'd been pouring love into a well that would never fill up. And it was time to stop. It's strange how quiet things get after you stop giving people what they expect from you. For 2 years, my phone had never stopped buzzing calls, messages, random check-ins from my parents. But the moment I stopped sending that $600 every week, silence. No, good morning texts. No, how are you, son? Not even fake small talk. Just silence. At first, I didn't know what to do with it. I kept checking my phone out of habit, expecting something. Anything. Then, one night, my mom finally called. I remember staring at her name on the screen. My heart pounded a little, even though I told myself not to care. I answered anyway. "Hello." "Tyson," she said, her voice suddenly weak and shaky. "I'm not feeling well." Here we go, I thought. "What's wrong?" I asked, keeping my tone calm. She sighed. "It's my blood pressure again. Your father's been worried sick. The medication is so expensive now." I leaned back in my chair. "Didn't you say Dad's pension started coming in?" "Yes, but it's not enough," she said quickly. "You know how bills pile up. We wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious." I closed my eyes for a moment. "You're asking for money again, aren't you?" "Tyson, we're your parents," she snapped suddenly. "Don't talk to me like that." That tone, cold and sharp, it always came out when she realized she couldn't manipulate me with guilt. "Mom," I said quietly, "I love you, but I'm done sending money. I've got a family to take care of now. Eli needs me more than you do." She gasped, like I'd just cursed her. "After everything we've done for you, this is how you talk to your mother?" "You keep saying everything you've done," I said, "but when was the last time you did something for me, without expecting something in return?" There was silence. Then she hung up. I sat there for a while, staring at the wall. It felt final, like a door had just closed. 2 days later, my dad called. He didn't waste time. "Tyson, your mother's upset. You shouldn't have spoken to her that way." "I spoke the truth," I said. He sighed. "You think we're bad people now? Is that it?" I didn't respond. He kept going. "You know, we didn't force you to send money. You did it because you wanted to feel like a hero. Don't blame us for that." That one hurt. Because deep down, maybe there was some truth to it. Maybe a part of me did want to feel like the good son. The one who made it. The one who helped his parents live better. But I also knew I did it out of love, not for recognition. And that's what made their betrayal sting even more. "I'm done feeling guilty for helping people who don't appreciate it," I said finally. He didn't argue. Just said, "You'll regret this someday," and hung up. That was the last time I heard his voice. Weeks passed. Life slowly went back to normal, or at least, our version of it. Without the weekly transfer, we suddenly had extra money. Lena suggested we start saving for a small family trip, something we hadn't done in years. We even took Eli to the zoo for the first time. Watching his face light up as he saw the lions made me realize how much I'd missed moments like that, simple, honest happiness. He didn't ask about Grandma and Grandpa anymore. I think he noticed they weren't around. Kids are smarter than we think. Sometimes he'd ask, Daddy, are Grandma and Grandpa mad at us? I'd smile and say, no, buddy. They're just busy. But deep down, I knew they weren't busy. They were bitter. A month later, my sister, Angela, called me out of nowhere. Ty, she said, sounding nervous, Mom told me to talk to you. She said you cut them off. I didn't cut them off, I said. I just stopped funding their lifestyle. Angela sighed. You know how they are. They just want to live comfortably. I laughed bitterly. Comfortably? They were eating steak and drinking wine while Eli cried on his birthday. Quiet. Yeah. Mom mentioned that dinner. She said you misunderstood. They didn't mean to skip the birthday. Then why didn't they call? Not even a message. No answer. Angie, I'm done, I said finally. I love them, but I can't keep giving money to people who don't care about showing up. She sighed again. You're right. I've stopped sending them money too. They've been doing the same thing with me. That caught me off guard. Wait, what? Yeah, she said. They ask for money from me too, smaller amounts, like $200 here and there. They told me they needed help paying bills, but when I visited last month, they had a new air fryer and matching robes. I felt my jaw tighten. So it wasn't just me. Nope, she said quietly. You were just their main source. That night, I sat in silence, thinking about all the times I'd believed I was their hero. Turns out, I was just their ATM. One Sunday morning, I got a text from my mom again. We forgive you for everything. Just remember, God doesn't like ungrateful children. I stared at it for a long time before replying. And God doesn't like people who take advantage of others. Take care, Mom. Then I blocked their numbers. It felt peaceful. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt. I was just done. That night, Lena and I sat on the porch watching Eli chase fireflies in the yard. She leaned on my shoulder and said, You did the right thing. I nodded slowly. Yeah, I just wish it didn't have to end like this. She smiled softly. Sometimes endings are the only way to start something better. I looked at Eli laughing under the porch, light-free, innocent, happy. And I made a quiet promise to myself. I'd never make him feel the way my parents made me feel. Unseen. Unappreciated. Used. Because love shouldn't feel like a transaction. 3 months had passed since I last spoke to my parents. No calls. No texts. Not even one of those forwarded good morning messages my mom used to send. It was weird at first. The silence felt heavy, like walking through an empty house that used to be full of noise. But after a while, it started to feel peaceful. There was no guilt anymore, no pressure, no unexpected requests that made my chest tighten. For the first time in years, I felt like I was living for my family, not just trying to keep someone else happy. One evening, I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone, when Lena came in holding Eli's school bag. Guess who got a star sticker today? She said, smiling. Eli ran in behind her, holding up his drawing. It was a picture of our family, me, Lena, and him, standing in front of our little blue house. I noticed there were only 3 people in the picture. No grandparents. I hesitated for a second, then smiled. That's amazing, buddy. You did great. He grinned proudly. That's us. Just us. Just us. It hit me then, how simple and pure that sounded. For Eli, our little trio was enough. I didn't need to chase my parents' approval anymore. I didn't need to prove I was a good son by paying for their comfort. Being a good father was enough. But peace never lasts long when people like my parents are involved. One Saturday morning, while Lena and I were making breakfast, my phone rang. The screen showed a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it, but something made me pick up. Hello. Tyson, it's me. It was my mom. Her voice sounded soft, the kind of soft that usually came before manipulation. What do you want, Mom? I asked, my tone flat. She sighed. I don't want to fight. I just want to talk. I stayed quiet. I know things got ugly, she continued, but you're still our son. We shouldn't be strangers. You made that choice, I said. She paused. Your father hasn't been feeling well lately. He's been tired and dizzy. We might need some help with medical bills. There it was. The real reason for the call. Mom, I said calmly, you have insurance. You told me last year. Yes, but it doesn't cover everything, she said quickly. I just thought maybe you could send a little, not much, just something small to help. I let out a breath. Mom, I'm not sending money anymore. I've told you this. Her tone changed instantly. So you're going to let your father suffer? I clenched my jaw. Don't twist it like that. You've changed, Tyson, she snapped. You used to care about your family. I stayed silent for a moment, then said quietly, I still do. That's why I stopped. Because what we had wasn't love, Mom. It was controlled. She didn't reply, just breathing on the line. Then she said, almost whispering, you'll regret turning your back on us. I already regret trusting you more than my own family, I said. And I ended the call. That day, I sat with Lena in the living room, replaying that conversation in my head. She didn't say much, just took my hand. You did the right thing, she said finally. Sometimes love means walking away. I nodded, though my chest still ached. Because no matter what they did, they were still my parents. And part of me still wished things could have been different. A few weeks later, something strange happened. My sister, Angela, texted me. Mom and Dad sold their car. I asked why, and she said, they said times are tough. They can't manage without your help. I didn't respond. I just stared at the message. That night, I sat outside after everyone had gone to bed, thinking about everything, the years of sending money, the birthday they ignored, the way they twisted every good thing I did. I realized something important. People don't change just because you help them. If anything, sometimes your help stops them from ever wanting to change. The next morning, I transferred a small amount, not to my parents, but to a college savings account for Eli. It felt right. Lena smiled when I told her. You're breaking the cycle, Ty, she said softly. That's what real growth looks like. And she was right. For the first time, my money wasn't buying approval or guilt. It was building something real, my son's future. A few months later, it was Eli's 7th birthday. We threw another small party, just close friends, a few neighbors, nothing fancy. While setting up the decorations, Lena asked, do you think your parents will call this time? I looked at her and smiled. It doesn't matter. Eli ran up, holding his balloon sword. Daddy, come play. And I did. No phone in my hand. No waiting for a call that would never come. Just laughter. Music. Family. When Eli blew out his candles, he didn't look at the door this time. He just smiled at us and said, this is the best birthday ever. And for the first time, I agreed. That night, after everyone left, I tucked him into bed. He looked up at me and whispered, Daddy, when I grow up, I'm going to take care of you too. I smiled and kissed his forehead. Just love me, buddy. That's all I'll ever need. As I turned off the light, I thought about my parents again, about how much I'd tried to keep them happy, and how much it had cost me emotionally. But then I looked at my sleeping son, peaceful and safe, and I realized I'd already broken the curse. I didn't need their approval anymore. I didn't need their fake love. I finally understood that family isn't about blood, it's about who shows up when it matters. And my parents? They showed up for a stranger's birthday, not their grandson's. That told me everything I needed to know. From that day on, every time I saw $600 sitting in my account on a Friday morning, I smiled. Not because I had more money, but because I finally had freedom. Freedom from guilt. Freedom from manipulation. Freedom from fake love. And most of all, freedom to give my son the kind of love I never got. What would you have done if this happened to you or someone you know? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories, confessions, betrayals, and emotional journeys. New videos every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.